As outrageous as it may sound, there's over 900 of these recordings on YouTube. It's like a research library of Kundalini yoga, Rudy's meditation practice. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that they actually posted 900 of these recordings. More. This is what Ellie told me. It's kind of amazing. It's too much. It's much too much. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Please everyone try and sit still until the class is over. If you're fidgeting and moving, you really disrupt the energy of the class. Does anyone have a question? I hope somebody has a question. It always makes the class much more interesting. Bob? I don't hear you. I can't hear you, Bob. No, I still can't hear you. I don't know. Do you hear me? Do people hear me? Yes? Okay.
Okay, I had to fix my mic. So I have a question, and but I'm really loving these new posts that you've been writing, and it's like if I'm really reading the post, I will have a question, and if I don't have a question, then I slow down, and then I have a question. Um, so my so my what you wrote recently was that change is essential,
Yes.
and that our and then in another post you were speaking about um, the necessity of being in the now,
Yes.
and so there's a part of me that um, has a hard time making the connection that change um, transpires in the now. That
Well,
changes.
uh, look, I how does the mind understand this? It's very difficult, Bob, for the human mind to understand these kind of conceptions. Look, the now is every single moment as it progresses through infinity. That is the now. The now is the past, the now is the future, and the now is the present. And every moment, human beings, life, nature, everything is going through changes. I mean, none of us are the same we were 10 years ago. Look at, gray hair, gray beards, gray this, gray that. You understand? We change. We're constantly undergoing change. And yet in the mind, we want everything to be stagnant. We want it to be the way it was because it's familiar. We feel safe with it the way it was. And all it does is create a very stagnant nature in a human being instead of being open to living in the moment. Now, to live in the moment, you have to have a chakra system that is really strong. Because once you begin thinking about the future, the past, anything, you lose the moment. But when your chakra system is highly developed, the heart stays open, the mind is quiet, there's rootedness inside, And I said, it gives you the strength to be able to live with the moment as the one moment moves into the next moment and the next one. I mean, it's like Ram Dass wrote, be here now, you know? Don't be here sometime in the future because it's not possible. The future doesn't exist. The future is just today becoming tomorrow. The past is a shadow that trails us around, and it also doesn't exist. All we have is the now. And yet our minds are playing some kind of ping pong match with us. And the ball is bouncing from the past to the future, back and forth. And we don't have the inner capacity to stay focused in the now. And yet the now, the moment, is all we have. So it's really important that, you can't understand this. This becomes part of a living reality. As you develop the chakra system inside, your chemistry allows you to do this. You have the strength. I mean, look, when I was younger, my early 20s, I used to study acting in New York. And one of the prime things they used to teach us is if you're on stage or on camera, whatever you're doing in that, you have to be in the moment. You have to respond to the other actors in the moment. And I understood that then. But then when I started studying with Rudy, and I realized that life itself is learning to live in the moment. Every moment is sacred, and it passes us by because we spend so much time in our heads. We're thinking all the time. We're daydreaming all the time. We're planning the future instead of doing the now. And I really, truly believe this. And I would tell this to young people. If you are successful in the now, if you're successful in this moment, the future of your life is going to be successful. But if you spend all your time worried about the future, daydreaming, plotting out, you understand you're going to be just as crazy in 10 years. So the whole point of this is learning to live this way and to truly understand how sacred the moment is. Please, Deborah, try and sit still. I know that's your first class, and but try to sit still. Uh, and I hope it's clear what I'm talking about because this is such an essential ingredient. I mean, look, that other guy, I forgot his name. He wrote that book, The Power of Now. These were very successful books. And I understand what they were trying to get to. The problem is they didn't tell you how to do it, but they were able to describe the fact that if you learn to live in the moment, your whole life will be transformed. In Rudy's meditation, there is a technique, a method of how to do this, how to build a system inside yourself that will get you strong enough so that you can live in the sacred moment, that everything gets precious, everything becomes sacred. Time becomes sacred. Life itself, every living creature becomes sacred because all of it exists in the present, in the moment. And it all becomes one's teacher, which I think is an amazing way to live, where life itself, not Stuart, not Swami this one and Yogi that one and some preacher, and life itself becomes the guru. But we need the inner strength to be able to embrace life that way, to be able to live in the moment, to be able to see that each moment is sacred and has something amazing to teach us about ourselves. No, I'm not saying this is easy to do. It's not easy to do, but it's absolutely the essence of spiritual evolution. It's what all of meditation, chakra work, the development inside is leading towards. And in order to do it, we have to build systems inside that are strong enough to do it. Because there's so much stuff that goes on in life that drags us out of the moment. I mean, you just turn on the news and I mean, it's like turning on, a viewer that lets you see hell. You turn on the news, and you need the strength inside to be able to stay focused. The meditation helps one develop that kind of inner strength. And that kind of inner strength, we can love other people, we can forgive other people. We're not intimidated by what people do. We're not threatened by what people do. We're not threatened by what we do. We like ourselves. We love ourselves. We're worthy of having extraordinary lives. All of this is contingent upon building a system that allows us to live in the sacredness of life, which is the moment. The manifestation of God around each and every human being, every single moment. So there's no, these two ideas are not contradictory, they work together. And I'm saying, it's very hard to understand this because the mind wants to, conceptualize everything and make it, and of course you get an answer and 5 minutes later it doesn't work anymore. But when you live in the moment, every moment is sacred and precious, and you can consciously learn from whatever it is you're experiencing. And it really helps you to grow, and it helps you to relate to life, to other people, to, God, spirit. That whole book I wrote, I'm almost finished. There's maybe 3, 4 weeks of postings left. It's all about this. This is the essence of what I wrote about in that entire book. The now, living in the now, being in the moment. Cyrus is a wonderful musician, but when he plays, he's got to be in the moment. He can't be thinking about what he's going to have for dinner tonight. You got to be there. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Does anyone else have a question you would like to?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Bob. Great question, Bob. I love the questions because, when these things come through me, I'm telling you, it's not Stuart talking. I don't walk around thinking about these things all day. It just flows through. It's really a higher energy that flows through. And the questions draw that out of me. They're wonderful. And what it is, what do we want in life? We want to be happy. We want to have love. We want to feel hearts full of joy, full of wonderment. Everything. It could be a cup of tea. It could be a great symphony. It could be a work of art. It could be walking down the street. Everything is sacred. And the truth is, when you begin to live that way, nothing is more sacred than anything else. A cup of tea is as sacred as a painting by Rembrandt. I mean that. When you begin to live this way. Does anyone else have a question? Okay. If there are no more questions, there'll be meditation tomorrow evening. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I hope to see you all there. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you,
Bye.
Stuart.
Good night.